One of the pleasures of riding this bike is it is fast, and if you know what you're doing and you're physically fit, you could really fly on this thing. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I have a lot of errands I gotta run before I ship out to work. I gotta go to the grocery store, I gotta get a money order, I got to pick up a couple things from a different store, I gotta go to the bike shop, I got a bunch of things I gotta do, and I've really only got about 30 minutes to do it before I have to head into work. So I got a lot to do, I gotta get going. I'm taking this bike to the store instead of the Brompton because this bike actually has more cargo capacity than the Brompton does, so it's usually the bike I take. Well, I got all that done. I gotta unload all this stuff and I gotta pack up and get ready. I've got about 16, 17 minutes before I have to go. I tell you, this running around before, I need to get up earlier. I'm not an early riser. I'm more of a night owl type of person, but I can never seem to get out of bed. I don't know why, I just can't. Anyway, I have to hurry, so. Yeah, I used to have like a big setup on this bike with the full panniers. I used to rock these things. They're the Thule panniers. I filled them to the capacity. When you're riding to work, as far as I do, and if you've ever lived in Colorado, you would know that the weather changes here very, very abruptly. So you got to be prepared basically. You have to have rain gear. If the temperature drops like it did last night down into almost the 30s, actually it did drop into the 30s. When it drops into the 30s, something a little thin is not going to be sufficient to keep you warm. So you got to carry extra layers and clothing. You got to carry tools. You got to carry a lot of things with you. So I used to pack these panniers full and then carry a backpack on top of that. And that was quite a lot of stuff. My backpack is mainly filled with stuff I need for work and my filming equipment. When I go out and I film around town and stuff, I carry all that in my backpack. Now, basically what I do, since I've got the Brompton, is I get this little bitty tote bag and I put it on the back of my Brompton. And this tote bag carries my extra layers and clothes, my pants for work, because I do have to change. I can't wear this at work, so I have to change into some work clothes. So I got my pants, extra shirts, some socks, some rain gear like a rain jacket, rain pants, all that stuff I carry in this little bag. And now I strap that to the back of the Brompton and I carry my backpack and I'm good to go. What you want to do is you want to make sure that when you put a bag on the back of the Brompton, that it's secured in place, but it's also behind this line right here. Otherwise, when your pedals come around, your heel is going to hit the bag, because a lot of people will pack a bag all the way up to here. You know, they'll stuff a huge duffel or something right up to here. And of course, when you're pedaling, your feet are going to hit the bag. So you got to have it back far enough in order to be able to clear your rotation here. Hey guys, something funny just happened. I wish I caught it on camera. I was riding down Martin Luther King, and there's this guy on a road bike, and he was hauling ass. I was keeping up with him most of the way, and then we got up a hill. I started passing him. It was kind of funny because I started passing him up the hill, and he was out of his seat. I was just sitting on my Brompton riding. And it was the funniest thing ever. I really wish I caught it on camera. The look on their faces, man. That is one of the pleasures of riding this bike, is it is fast. And if you know what you're doing and you're physically fit, you could really fly on this thing. And those guys can't stand it, man. Those roadies, they can't stand it. Now the funny thing is with my limited gearing on this bicycle, I can only go so fast. So right when I start getting around 21 miles an hour, I've topped out. You know, I need to get a bigger chain ring for the front. That way I have a little more top speed. Once you start winding out, there's nothing really you can do at that point. All the physical fitness in the world isn't gonna matter. I know that bike he had. It was a Cervelo. It's very, very light. That particular bike I think weighs 15 pounds, maybe less. Those guys that spend $6 or $7 grand on a bicycle and you start passing them, they hate it. They get very offended. We had a massive headwind, kind of like I do now. So it was really hard to crank any faster, you know, a higher RPM. It was really hard because I'm carrying more weight than this guy is. I have a heavier bike. Even though it is smaller, it is heavier. So I have a heavier bike, I'm carrying a lot more weight than him. And I was able to keep up with him for a long time until we got on the flat part. And that's where he ducked down into his drop bar position and he really started cranking. But he couldn't stand the fact that I was keeping up with him for a long time, because he thought he dusted me, and he turned around and he looked and he saw that I was still behind him, and he was like, you should have saw the look on his face, man. It was just shock. It's like, how the hell are you still behind me? So he gave it his max effort, I could tell. And on that flat, and he started inching me. And then after about a couple miles, he was about maybe 500 feet in front of me. And he was just cranking, doing the best he could. I guess after it was all said and done, he felt rather vindicated that he beat me. But one, I've got a lot of weight, so what he did wasn't impressive. If you put me on my carbon fiber super bike, and I'll tell you right now, I would have dusted that guy. That wind was killer just a few minutes ago, man. God, coming around that pass, whew, that was really difficult. I still maintained probably 17 to 17.5 mile an hour in that heavy wind. Not bad. Like I said, I seem to be topping out at like 21, 22, sometimes 23, depending on wind conditions. That's about as fast as I've been able to pedal this bike with the gearing that's presently on it. I might go for a gear, like an increase in the front chain ring gear ratio. I'm not quite sure. I already did that once. I went from a 52 to a 54 tooth, I don't know if it's going to be wise to go any higher than that, partially because I'd like to do a lot of touring on this bike during the summertime, and that means going in the mountains here in Colorado. The mountains are off to the west, and as soon as you start going out west, you start slowly climbing. And if I put a 62 chainring on the front, that's going to make climbing, even with a 6-speed like this bike is, that's going to make climbing really, really miserable. So I don't know if I want to do that. Or maybe I'll go ahead and buy a chain ring and put it on there just for rolling around town, and then swap it out when I want to go up into the mountains or do anything like that. Yeah, very pleased with the speed of this bicycle. It is fast, you know, as long as you get the legs to pedal it, man, this bike is fast. Well, today's the last day of my work week. I promise we'll go out and do something fun tomorrow, man. I'm gonna go either mountain biking, or we're gonna go up to the mountains maybe. I'm not quite sure. I might take the Brompton sometime this weekend on a long trip. I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna do there. We'll do something fun. If you guys have any comments or questions, leave them down in the comment and question section. Slap a like on the video if you like it, and I will talk to you guys later.